Let me tell y'all something. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. See, we live in a world where everybody want to talk. Social media got folks thinking they need to comment on everything, respond to everything, prove something to everybody. But the real power, that's in silence. Silence is one of the most underrated tools of power. Most people think that strength comes from always having something to say, always responding, always proving a point. But real power comes from knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet. When you control your words, you control the room. In a world where everybody wants to be heard, silence makes you stand out. People expect immediate reactions. They expect you to defend yourself, explain yourself, argue your case. But when you don't, it shifts the energy. It makes people pause. It makes them wonder what you're thinking, what your next move is. And that right there, that moment of uncertainty is where your power lies. Think about the most influential people in the world. They don't speak just to fill space. When they do, every word matters. That's because they've mastered the art of silence. They don't let emotions drive their responses. They don't let distractions pull them into unnecessary conversations. They understand that not everything deserves their attention. Silence is a choice. It's a form of discipline. When you learn to hold your tongue, you stop letting people control your emotions. Somebody says something reckless to you, and your first instinct is to react. That's human nature. But when you stay quiet, you take back control. You don't give them the satisfaction of getting under your skin. You show them that their words have no power over you. Silence also makes people listen when you finally do speak. If you're always talking, always arguing, always proving a point, your words lose value. But when you only speak when necessary, people start paying attention. They know that when you open your mouth, it's for a reason. It's also a tool for observation. When you're silent, you hear what others don't. You pick up on details, you read people better, you see things for what they really are. A lot of people miss opportunities because they're too busy talking instead of listening. The smartest person in the room isn't always the loudest. It's usually the one who says the least, but notices the most. Mastering silence is about learning to be comfortable with it. Most people hate silence because they feel like they need to fill it. They rush to speak because they're afraid of what happens if they don't. But when you embrace silence, you realize it's not emptiness, it's power. Mystery is one of the greatest advantages you can have in life. The moment people can predict your every move, they gain the ability to control you. When they know exactly how you think, how you react, and what you're planning, they can get ahead of you, block your path, or manipulate you into doing what benefits them. But when you learn to move in silence, you take that power away. People are naturally curious. They want to know what's going on in your life, what you're working on, what your next step is. The more you feed them information, the more control you give away. But when you keep things to yourself, you create uncertainty. People start guessing, wondering, trying to figure you out. That's where the power shifts. When they don't know what you're up to, they can't prepare for it. They can't interfere, they can't block your blessings, and they can't use your plans against you. Look at the most successful people in any industry. They don't announce their next move. They don't tell everybody what they're about to do. They work in silence, and then one day, they show up with results. By the time people realize what's happening, it's already done. That's because they understand the power of mystery. They know that keeping their goals and strategies private protects them from unnecessary opinions, negativity, and distractions. Not everyone around you wants to see you win. Some people only ask about your plans so they can secretly hope for your failure. Others want to copy your ideas and run ahead of you. And then there are those who will plant seeds of doubt in your mind just because they don't have the courage to chase their own dreams. When you keep your moves to yourself, you protect your vision from all of that. Mystery also makes people respect you more. When you don't put everything on display, you create a sense of importance around yourself. People start seeing you as someone who operates on a different level. They realize that you don't need validation, you don't need approval, and you're not moved by outside noise. That kind of presence changes the way people treat you. It makes them think twice before underestimating you because they never know what you might do next. Operating with mystery isn't about being secretive for no reason. It's about being strategic. It's about understanding that not everything needs to be shared, not every move needs to be announced, and not everyone needs access to your plans. Your energy is one of the most valuable things you have. Every day you wake up with a certain amount of it, and how you choose to use it determines the direction of your life. Some people waste their energy on things that don't serve them, arguing with people who don't matter, proving themselves to those who will never be satisfied, and reacting to every little thing that comes their way. But the truth is, not everything deserves your response, and not everyone deserves your energy. When you spend your time engaging in pointless battles, you drain yourself mentally, emotionally, and even physically. Every time you respond to negativity, you give it power. Every time you argue with someone who doesn't want to understand you, you lose focus. Every time you try to explain yourself to people who have already made up their minds, you waste time that could have been spent building your future. The people who are truly successful in life understand that their energy is a resource, and they treat it like one. They don't give it away freely to things that don't bring them closer to their goals. There will always be distractions. There will always be people who try to test you, push your buttons, and pull you into unnecessary drama. The key is learning to recognize what's worth your time and what isn't. Some battles are meant to be fought, but most are just traps designed to pull you away from what you should be focused on. The moment you learn to ignore what doesn't matter, you take control of your energy. Silence is